All right, so let's get started with our main event, how to feed your dog right. First of all, my name is Vern. I'm your host for this evening. Now, professionally, I'm an anti-aging and weight management consultant. So I basically help my human clients to become younger and healthier as they age through the right nutritional supplement. And also I have two dogs, one bossy corgi and one lovey golden cockle. Okay, and of course today, let's move on to our keynote for today. All right. And next up, very excited, okay, to introduce our speaker, Catherine Koo. Catherine is actually a highly qualified pet nutritionist with certification in animal health science, small animal neutral nutrition, and also advanced canine nutrition. She is also a pet first aid instructor who has also trained pet owners, corporate teams, and also pet professionals in life-saving skill, with over 12 years of experience in nutritional medicine and also pet wellness. Catherine brings a rare combination of scientific knowledge and practical hands-on experience. Her mission is very simple: to give pet owners clarity and also confidence in making the best nutrition choice for their furry companions. And now tonight, she will be sharing exactly what every dog owners need to know about feeding their dogs correctly. So please help me by welcoming Catherine Koo by typing 888 into the chat room. Over to you, Catherine.
Thanks, Vern. That's very good. Thank you for the introduction. Now, first, I want to say thank you to everyone for being here. I know it's 7+, it's probably dinner time and you're probably eating. So thank you for making the time to be here today. Now, I'm going to jump straight into it because we do have quite a number of things to talk about today. And a lot of you participated and responded. And these are all the concerns that you have responded back to us. So 20 of the questions that we have picked out. Now, today's session, it will not be enough. There will not be enough time for us to cover every single question. So what we did was we recategorized them into broader questions, into 10 broader questions. And tonight, I'm going to go through the 10 questions, and I hope that it will address most of your concerns. Now, if it doesn't, as Vern said, you can always post your question and we will take them later, okay? So let's jump into the first one. Now, most of you are very concerned with a healthy diet. So what is a healthy diet for dogs? What do you mean by a healthy diet? Now, in very simple terms, actually, what it means is a diet that provides your dog enough calories, energy, so that they can be active, and at the same time, it's also a diet that provides your dogs enough nutrients. By nutrients, I mean enough proteins, enough good fats, enough fiber, vitamins, minerals, water, so that they can repair, regenerate, their immune system is healthy, they can preserve health, prevent disease, or manage a disease condition without worsening the disease condition. Now, at the same time, the diet that has enough nutrients, it has also got to be age specific. That means the diet must be suitable. The nutrients must be suitable for different ages, whether it's for a puppy, for an adult, or for a senior dog. Okay, so that is a very big explanation of that, of what is a healthy diet. Now, as we go along, I'm going to break it down. But now that you have an idea, what do you mean by a healthy diet? Healthy diet is one that provides enough calories and enough nutrients. Now, don't worry, we will go through step by step and you will see the details of what I mean by that. Now, enough calories, obviously, your dog needs energy. Calories, energy, so that they can function, they are active, they are happy, they are mentally, they are well behaved, they learn new things. All this, the body function requires energy, and it comes from calories from the food that they eat. Okay. Now, how do you know that your dog has enough calories? This would usually tie back to how much to feed. If you are feeding commercial pet food, what do I mean by commercial pet food? By commercial pet food, I mean pet food that you get from the pet store. So you go into the pet store, you either buy a dry dog kibble or canned food or fresh raw food or fresh cooked food or freeze-dried or air-dried. I'm sure all of you would have fed one of this. Okay, so it's not new. Whichever it is that you're feeding, if you go to the pet shop and you get it, that is what I meant by commercial pet food. Now, those type of pet food, they have a feeding guide. So what you do is you follow the feeding guide, then you will need to adjust accordingly. Based on whether your dog is putting on weight or losing weight, then you adjust. So I will cover that a little bit in detail later. But if you are you homemade your own food, then there is no easy way around it but to calculate. So you need to calculate how much calories your dog need. You need to calculate how much calorie is in the food. Then only you know how much to feed. So again, I will show you how to calculate step by step shortly. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. Now, how much to feed? Normally, people are also concerned. So how many times should I feed? Now, for puppies, 3 to 4 times a day. Now, for adults and seniors, 1 to 2 times daily. And your feeding schedule best to be consistent. Now, what I mean by consistent is, for example, if you always feed at 8 a.m., try to feed around 8 a.m. It is okay if you say feed slightly earlier at 7:45 or slightly later at 8:15, 8:20. It's fine. It's not a problem. But do not suddenly shift. Like today is 7 a.m., tomorrow is 10 a.m., the next day is 11 a.m. Don't move around like that because they really do better if the feeding schedule is consistent, okay? But what is more important is, doesn't matter how much you feed, but what is more important is avoid feeding your dog immediately before or after a strenuous activity. Now that will most likely give them a stomach upset, like vomiting. Usually it's vomiting. Or in some cases, for example, GR, German Shepherd, there is a tendency to suffer from bloat or GDB, a very serious bloating condition that can be life-threatening. So best to avoid feeding immediately before or immediately after a strenuous activity. Let them rest for at least 45 minutes before you feed. Okay? 45 minutes to an hour before you feed. So that's the best. Now, we talked about how much to feed, right? So I'm just taking this as an example. So just now I mentioned, say for an adult, you feed 1 to 2 a day. Now, for example, for this particular dog food, if you look at a feeding guide, it says, let's look at 4 kilo. Let's say your dog is 4 kilo. So weight of pet is 4 kilo, and the recommended is 79 gram per day. So that is per day. So you're feeding 2 a day, then you have to divide that into 2. So that's how you would use the feeding guide. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is the body condition score, because the feeding guide, as the name suggests, is a guide. And every dog is unique. Just like humans, there are some dogs that will put on weight easily, and there are some dogs that will eat more and doesn't put on weight so easily. So I'm sure you all can identify with that. There are some people who can eat a lot and then not put on weight one. Then there are some people who breathe oxygen also put on weight. So it's the same with dogs. Every dog is different. So you start with the feeding guide, and then you use the body condition score to identify is your dog ideal weight, which is number 5, or not ideal, obese, or very thin. Now, how do you do that? If you have your dog with you right now, if you can see your dog right now, this is a good practical practice session. So first, you look from the top. Look from the top. And what do you see? Can you see the waistline? Can you see a waistline? Now, the ideal condition is you should be able to see some waistline. Not to this extent, but at least here, number 5, you should be able to see a curve in. Okay? Now, the second thing you want to look at, apart from the waistline, is can you see the dog's ribs? Now, if you have a long hair or heavy coated dog, it might be difficult to see the ribs right now. But imagine when you bathe your dog, when the fur is wet and all the fur stick to the body. Okay, think about those situations. Can you see your dog's ribs? A healthy condition would be you cannot see the ribs, but when you touch your dog, when you feel your dog, you can feel the ribs. Ideal condition, you cannot see the ribs, but you can feel the ribs. So if I use a toy dog here, I hope you can see the toy dog. Okay, never mind. You cannot see the dog's ribs, but when you feel, you can touch the ribs. With a little pressure, you should be able to touch. Okay, so that's the ideal. But even if before feeling you already can see the ribs, then the dog is a bit too thin. Or when you touch also, you cannot feel the ribs, like you just feel like, wow, a lot of fat, then the dog is on a fattier, plumber side, then you need to lose weight, okay? So use this as a guide. You don't have to do this every day lah. Probably once a month or a few months thinking that you want to just give your dog a check. Or when you bathe your dog, you just run your hand through and see, yeah, can I feel now? Is my dog still okay in terms of the weight? Okay. Now for home cooks, I mentioned earlier that you will need to calculate how much to feed. Okay, there is no, because home cooking is very different. Because of the different ingredients that you used, the end dog food will have very different calorie from one recipe to another. So you have no choice, you have to calculate. Now this formula, step 1, is to calculate the resting energy. So in other words, if your dog just sleep the whole day, 24/7, 365 days, how much energy do they need? That is the RER. So that is the dog resting energy. Then you have to take into consideration their lifestyle. Are they active? Are they not active? So what is known as the lifestyle factor. So you can see the blue box there. There are some example of a lifestyle factor. So once you multiply their resting energy with their lifestyle factor, then you get the actual calorie that they need daily. Now, once you have the actual calorie, then you need to calculate how much calorie that they are going to get from the food. Then only you can know how much food to feed. Now, for example, you have a 10 kilo senior inactive dog. 10 kilo. So this is how the formula will work. Step 1, you calculate the resting energy. Step 2, you calculate, I said senior inactive dog. So senior inactive, the lifestyle factor is 1.2. So your RER multiplied by 1.2, and you get 787 kilocalories. So that is what this 10 kilo senior inactive dog needs. This dog needs 787 kilocalories, okay? Now you don't have to worry about this. All this formula is available online. I'm just running. If you did not manage to get this, we can send it to you later. Or if you Google or ask ChatGPT, they will also have the formula for you, okay? So not worry. But I'm just explaining to you how it works, okay? Now, say for example, this is your dog recipe. Only 3 ingredients. Obviously, it will not be like that lah. It's just an example. So only 3 ingredients. So you have to calculate ingredient by ingredient. What is the calorie? So in this particular recipe, there's only 3 ingredients. Skinless chicken breast, raw skinless chicken breast, which is 1 kilo. So you can Google or ChatGPT and find out 1 kilo of chicken breast, how much calories. So it's about 1,002. Then chicken liver, 50 gram, about 80 calories. Carrot, 100 gram, about 40 calories. So you go on, all the different ingredients you add up. So at the end of the day, say you 1,150 gram of your dog food has 1,320 kilocalories. So if your dog only needs, in this particular case, if your dog only needs 787 kilocalories, then you calculate how much food you need to feed, right? So don't, if you are worried that, oh, there's a lot of math, don't worry. Like I said, you can find the calculation. You can actually get ChatGPT to do it for you. You just know that you need to calculate RER, MER, and most important, you just need to know how much calorie in your food, and you can calculate. But even then, like I said, every dog is unique. Whether you calculate from your homemade dog food, or whether it is commercial dog food, you follow the feeding guide, at the end of the day, you will still have to do the body condition score and then adjust accordingly. Now, for commercial dog food, it's easier. They will usually give you the feeding guide already. For example, a dry kibble here, you can see the feeding guide here. All right. Then fresh food, usually they will give you calories in such a manner. 1 gram, see the box there? So usually they will tell you ahead. Okay, so 1 gram of our food contains 1.12 calories. So then you can calculate accordingly. Okay. If you have picky eater, now I want to talk about a bit of possible. Now, picky eater, sometimes it's really picky, sometimes it's not. Now, sometimes usually they are picky because they know they can get away with it. They know that if they hold out or they beg or they give you the cute puppy eye look, in the end, they will get something else. So that's what they are doing. Okay, so it's more of a behavior problem in this case. Now, sometimes they are picky because they really don't like the taste buds. They really don't like the taste of the food. We have to remember that dogs have taste buds. They don't have as much taste buds as us. We have 5 times more than them. We taste better than them, but they can taste to a certain extent. They can taste. So yes, dogs can taste, and sometimes they just don't like the taste. That's why they get picky. They pick one food or one brand over another. Now, sometimes the food is not fresh. Now, some of you may notice you open up a new bag of food. Wow, the dog eat immediately. And then halfway through, 3/4 through, suddenly they don't want to eat already. Because at times, if the food is not stored properly, or if you buy a huge bag and it takes very long to finish, sometimes it's not fresh anymore and they don't want to eat it. Okay. At times, it could be the wrong size bowl. The bowl is either too deep, too difficult for them to reach, or the bowl is too wide. They cannot reach from the other side. And sometimes some dogs will just give up. They just eat wherever they can reach and then they give up. So the size of the bowl is also important. Now, the last one that I want to highlight is I didn't think about it until my colleague pointed out to me that her dog was like that. Some dogs see the reflection from the bowl, especially with stainless bowl. So they look down, they see their reflection, especially after they eat, and then, some of the food has already cleared, and then you can see the reflection. So what happened was her dog just stared at it, like, oh, then got a bit scared, then walk away. So it looks like the dog is picky, leaving food there, but the dog is not really picky, just concerned, like, oh, I can see my reflection. I don't know, is there another dog? Then walk away. But when she changed the bowl, the dog finished the food. So it took her for a while to figure it out. And then when she told me, I thought, yeah, I should share with everyone because this is very, very, very rare, but it could happen. Now, another one which I encountered yesterday, which is not on the slide yet, which I wanted to point it out, is the size of the food. Now, this happened to a dog that I was taking care for a short period of time. So this particular food the size was some of the size of the food was a bit big, some was small. So what I noticed was this dog went. Then the ones that are too big, very hard to chew. The dog is also a senior dog with some teeth issue. So the dog would go and pick the big pieces, put it on the floor, pick everything, put on the floor, and then eat only the rest that's on the bowl. So at first glance, if I didn't know, I would think that, wow, very picky lah. But because I know the dog, I know he's senior, he cannot chew properly. So what he's trying to do is, I cannot chew this, I don't want, so I pick everything out from my bowl. Then I only eat what I want. Okay. So there are certain things like oral health, which is not here, which I wanted to highlight right now, is to also take note of. So sometimes it's really picky, sometimes it's not. Sometimes these are the other possible causes. So you will have to monitor your dog a bit and identify, see what is the real possible causes, okay? Now, I'm going to quickly run through the nutrients as well. So how do you know if your dog is getting enough nutrients? Obviously, professionals would measure. They will have specific tools. But homeowners, like all of us here, we may not have specific tools to measure. So one of the earliest signs of nutrient deficiencies that you will know is their skin and coat condition. Compared to other dogs of the same breed, how is their skin and coat condition? Is it very dull, very dry? Is there excessive shedding? Like if you run your finger like full of fur, is there excessive shedding, hair loss, dry, flaky skin? If you flip, is the skin a lot of black discoloration, brown patches? And of course, weight loss or muscle loss. So these are first early signs of nutrient deficiencies. We do not know what nutrient deficiency yet in this condition, but when you see these signs, the first thing you want to think of is, could it be a nutrient deficiency? Okay. It could be other disease as well. I'm not saying that you see this sign, it's definitely nutrient, but this is the first sign usually of nutrient deficiency. So if you see this, and if your dog doesn't have any other symptom at all, just this, there is a possible nutrient deficiency. Okay, so that's how you will know from a homeowner's perspective. The next question you have would probably be, then what type of dog food is nutritionally complete and balanced? How would I know that I'm feeding a complete and balanced dog food? If you are feeding commercial pet food, remember the ones that I say you go and you buy from the pet shop. Almost all, in fact, I would say all, commercial pet food will be nutritionally complete and balanced because manufacturers, they will try their very best to follow guidelines set by EFCO or FIDIAF. Now, EFCO or FIDIAF, they set the guidelines. For EFCO is American-based, FIDIAF is European-based, but they set the guidelines so manufacturers will follow them. Now, even food manufacturer in Singapore, local, they will also follow one of these. They will either follow EFCO or they will either follow FIDIAF. Now, and typically they will publish, they will announce it on their website, they will let you know. But if you don't see it, you're not sure, you can always ask them. Just to be sure, do you meet EFCO or FIDIAF standards? So at least you know that the dog food is nutritionally complete or balanced, okay? However, bioavailability of natural nutrients can differ for different types of dog food due to the processing methods. Okay, so what I mean is all commercial dog food will be nutritionally complete and balanced, but not all the nutrients are natural nutrients. Depending on the type of dog food, if the dog food has gone through many rounds of processing, nutrients will be lost. And so most manufacturers will compensate. They will put back synthetic nutrients. They have to. Otherwise, there will not be enough nutrients. Okay. So for example, here, this particular brand, it's a kibble. And we know that kibble would have gone through many rounds of processing, right? And because of the many rounds of processing, nutrients will be lost. So the manufacturer would have to put back supplements. So here you can see the blue lines. These are all the supplements that they have put back, right? So that at least will give you an idea that this is how pet food manufacturer balance their food, okay? So if you are a pet owner that is concerned and you only want natural nutrients, right? And you want natural nutrients from commercial pet food, then the rule for you is when you go and buy commercial pet food, then you will have to choose a pet food that is less processed. So this is the rule. Less processed, you will have more natural nutrients. More processed, less natural nutrients, okay? So for less processed, it will naturally be the fresh food, whether it's fresh raw or fresh cooked or freeze-dried or raw air-dried. So these are usually will contain more natural nutrients, okay? Now, I'm not here to shame kibble feeders, Don't get me wrong. I'm just stating facts. These are the facts and this is what you see. Now, for the kibble feeder, now some owners have approached and say that I can only feed kibble because of my lifestyle. Fine. No choice. You have to do it. You can only feed kibble. And then how to make kibble better with more natural nutrients? You can add natural fruit. Now, I would suggest that you start with this. Fresh berries, lightly steamed lean meat or fish, or lightly steamed vegetables, or half or salt-boiled eggs, or you can also add bone broth. So it will already improve and enhance the nutrients, giving them more natural sources of nutrients, okay? You don't have to add a lot. depending on the size of your dog, it can be like 1 tablespoon, or if you have a giant breed, then up to 4 tablespoons. So you can put whatever kibble in the bowl, and then you just mix in 1 to 4 tablespoons of, maybe today is fresh berries, tomorrow is some lean steamed chicken breast or fish. Then the following day, you want to put lightly steamed vegetables, up to you. You can rotate in such a way. But you try first a little bit, and then you add more, right? But always keep it always use like a topper to enhance your dog's food. Now, if you feel that you do not want to add to your dog's food, and you prefer to feed as treats, you can as well. You can also add a little bit. If your dog doesn't mind crunching on raw carrots, like last time my dogs would pick, I will give little tiny carrot sticks, and then she will pick and then crunch. Now, if your dog doesn't mind doing that, you can do that as well. So carrot sticks, cucumber skits, or little blueberries, if they don't mind, they love it. Slices of maybe some fruits, fresh fruit, apples, you can give them that as well. Okay. So that's how you can enhance their nutrition, natural nutrients. Now, since we are on the topic of kibble, now dry dog kibble as well, there are better quality ones, good quality ones, and there are really very bad quality ones. So I just want to highlight a few things. Since we are talking about it, I just want to highlight a few things that when you buy your kibble, you want to check for a few things. Now, always check the ingredients, of course. In this case, for example, sorry, I don't show you the brand because things like that cannot really show the brands, okay? So like in this case, for example, you will see that this particular brand said that they are high protein. They are high protein dog kibble. But when you check, right, you wrote this number 1. Their first ingredient is brewer's rice. Brewer's rice is leftover rice. Like it's rice that is left over after processing. It's not brown rice. It's just broken pieces of rice left over. Okay. And the ingredients are arranged by weight. That means the heaviest ingredient is always first, and then goes second heaviest, third heaviest. So the lower the ranking, the less weight, the less amount of the ingredient, usually you'll be at the bottom of the ingredient list. So the one at the top is usually the most amount, the biggest amount. So the first is brewer's yeast. So you know that this is probably a higher carb diet, okay? And then the second is corn. That will also tell you, yeah, probably it's a higher carb dog food. The third ingredient, it says that it's a chicken dog food. But the third ingredient, now if it's actually chicken byproduct meal. So if you're someone who is concerned and you want fresh chicken, if you look here at one glance, there is no fresh chicken. It's just chicken byproduct meal, okay? So for those who are not aware, you want to take note of. Now, chicken byproduct meal or chicken meal or meat meal, they are usually leftover parts that has been processed and powderized. So the fat will be removed, and then whatever leftover will be dehydrated, powdered. Then the powder will be sent to the dog food factory. Then the dog food factory would take the powder, mix with the brewer's rice, the corn, the chicken fat, and whatever else here, cook again, dehydrate again, and make that into dog food. So when they go through so many rounds of processing, that is why there will be nutrient loss. That is why supplements need to be added back. So now you understand why supplements need to be added back. Now, item 3 and 4, I want to highlight. It is usually added. 3 is wheat gluten. 4 is corn gluten. Gluten is protein. So sometimes it is added to bulk the protein content. So when you read the nutrition profile, it looks very good, very high protein. But the protein didn't come from the chicken. It is actually from wheat gluten and corn gluten. You want to take note of that as well. And then, of course, there's natural flavors. Now, there are real, true, good quality natural flavors. And there are also natural flavors that is not natural. There's nothing natural about the natural flavors. So that's also one thing that you want to take note of, okay? When you buy dog food. Now, the other thing, when you buy dog food, don't fall for marketing gimmicks. For example, this particular dog food, you see here, roast beef flavor. Usually when there is a word flavor there, the manufacturer does not have to have beef protein. They do not have, it's not a requirement to add real meat, real beef. They can just add flavor because they already tell you it's roast beef flavor. You need to take note of that. Now, if you look at the ingredient list that they published, there's corn, there's poultry meal. Poultry meal is chicken meal. There's rice, there's soybean meal. Soybean meal is soybean. Chicken fat, if you go through, there is no beef, even though it says roast beef flavor. So it's not a beef dog food. It is just a dog food that uses roast beef flavoring. So after this, everybody go check your dog food, okay? Right. So don't fall for marketing gimmicks. Don't just look at the front. Always check the ingredients, okay? Okay, now we come back to our 10 questions. Before we move on to the next question. So we were talking about how do you know that, how to get natural nutrients? So from a dry dog kibble perspective, you add fresh ingredients. Now, if you are homemade, obviously it's fresh because it's fresh ingredients. You cook it. But for homemade, the thing that I want to highlight is do not simply just download recipe and think that it's going to be balanced, because most recipes from the internet are not balanced. Okay. So for example, I took one. This particular recipe I downloaded from the internet, and it was downloaded thousands of times, and a lot of people say it's great. And at one glance, it looked great. Like, wow, carbohydrates, protein, fats, wow, potassium, wow, fiber, it looks great. So they declared the nutritional level. Declaring the nutritional level, they are just telling you that this recipe contains this amount of nutrients. But it does not mean that this amount of nutrients is enough, adequate for the dog. That's a different thing. Is it adequate for the dog? So what I did was I uploaded the recipe into a pet professional formulator, pet food formulator. And true enough, there are multiple nutrient deficiencies. So these are all the deficiencies, okay? Don't have to memorize this, but what more important is, I want to show you all how you can identify. Now, obviously, home cooks, you will not have a pet food formulator for you to go and test individual recipe one by one. But there are certain things, certain signs that you can look out for that will give you an idea that, yeah, probably this recipe is not balanced, okay? Now, when you look at the recipe, there are a few things. Number one, is there a calcium source? Calcium usually for raw diet will come from bones. For cooked diets, you cannot add bones because you should not feed cooked bones to the dog. So usually you should see eggshell powder or a calcium supplement, right? Calcium supplement can be a seaweed base or a supplement or other base, but a calcium supplement or eggshell powder. So is that here? Don't have. So that will give you an indication already. This recipe likely not enough or no calcium, not enough calcium. Then phosphorus. You need phosphorus also for bone health. So calcium and phosphorus work together. They are like partners in crime. No, this one is partners for bone health. Okay. So calcium and phosphorus. Phosphorus comes a lot from organ meats, liver, kidney, heart, a lot. They also come from some fresh meat, fish, and some seeds. If you have a look at it, there's actually no organ here. It's just ground turkey. No turkey heart, no turkey gizzard, no turkey liver, nothing, no organs. If you don't add organs, you're going to be deficient in iron, copper, and zinc. And this will affect, especially zinc. It is definitely going to affect.
Listening, don't talk, okay?
And if you don't add organs, you're definitely going to be deficient in iron, copper, and zinc. And zinc is very important also for the dog's immune system. Okay. Now, another thing to look out for is iodine. Now, dogs don't need a lot of iodine, just very little only, but they do need iodine, just very tiny amount, but yes, they do need it. And iodine usually is from seaweed. Typical ones will be kelp, nori, or sometimes it can be from seafood, especially shellfish. You don't see it here as well. No kelp, no seaweed, no nori, no nothing. Vitamin B1. Pork is very high in vitamin B1. It's the exception. But it's not a pork diet here, it's a turkey diet. Okay? So if there's no vitamin B1, typically people would add nutritional yeast or brewer's yeast or some kind of whole grains if your dog eats grains. Okay? It didn't say it was a whole grain rice, so I'm assuming it's white rice. So again, you know this is deficient in B1. And it will definitely be deficient in vitamin D because there's no liver, no organs. There's no fish. There is one tiny egg here against 1 pound of ground turkey and no other sources. And dogs, unlike us, cannot make vitamin D. We expose ourselves to sunlight, we make vitamin D. They cannot. They need to get vitamin D from their food. It is for their immune system. It is for their bone health. They need it. So it must come from their food sources. Okay. How do you balance it? Don't worry, we'll cover later. But I just want to point it out to all of you that if you're home cooks and you're using recipes, when you look for recipes, look out for things like this. Right? Now, home cook, now we get to it. How do you ensure then that your home cooked dog food is nutritionally complete? If you are home cooking, I have the recipe ratio here. For example, lean meat is roughly 60%, liver is 5%, other organs is 10, vegetables 15, seeds 1. And fish is for the omega-3, typically is about 8%. And then calcium carbonate or eggshell powder, whichever you want to use. I typically use eggshell powder. And you add about 500 to 600 milligram per kilo of food. So milligram means you need a special weighing machine. A typical weighing machine that you use for baking cannot measure milligram. You need one of those micro, small, special weighing machine to get milligram. And then you will need a little bit of seaweed. Now, in this case, based on the 450 to 500 milligram that I provided, it is based on this particular product. Now, I'm not affiliated to this product. I don't take anything from them. But based on the formulation, because I use this product, so I have to show you this product. And understand that kelp powder, the iodine level can differ from so tiny to so mega huge product by product. Every product is different, which is why I have to state it that this amount that I give you is from this product. If you change product, you have to be very careful and you have to match and make sure that they match up. Or your dog could be iodine deficient or iodine toxicity because the product ranges is huge. Okay, but this product is very easily available. Okay. What do I mean by 60%, 5%, 10%? Now, maybe this is easier. Assuming you are going to prepare 1 kilogram of dog food, 1 kilogram, okay? So remember I said lean meat, I showed earlier the ratio, lean meat is 60%, right? So which means that if 1 kilogram of dog food, what you want is raw weight, before you cook, this is raw weight. So if raw weight, you're wanting to prepare 1 kilogram of dog food, then it's 600 grams. 60% of 1,000 is 600. So it's 600 grams of chicken breast, 5% of chicken liver, which is 5 grams. Other organs. So typically other organs, I will ask people to mix. So in the case of chicken, it's chicken heart and chicken gizzard. If you are using beef or lamb or pork, then I would say liver and kidney or liver and spleen. So you want to choose 2 different types and mix. Sorry, I mean heart or kidney or heart or spleen. So you want to choose 2 different types and mix. So 10%, so that's about it. And then you go on and fill it up. Then when it comes to the eggshell, it's 500 to 600 milligram per kilo. You're already building a kilo. So you can select between 500 to 600. It's fine. You will still get it balanced. So in this case, let's say I put 600 milligram. Okay, so you can put 550 if you want, 525 if you want, as long as it's within this range, right? Then help, I use 500, it can be 450 or 475 or 480 is fine, as long as it's range, right? Now, some people would say, but my dog don't like to add fish and then mix into the chicken meal. It has to be like fish is fish, chicken is chicken, beef is beef, lamb is lamb. Now, some dogs are particular like that. So if that's the case, then you don't add the fish, you take out the fish, then you supplement with fish oil. Now, if you supplement with fish oil, then you follow the manufacturer's recommended dose. Okay, and it is important because otherwise you will not get enough omega-3 in the diet for a healthy diet. Okay, so this is the ratio. Do you all get the ratio? Can you put in the chat a yes or no? Do you need more time or can I move on to the next slide? So I'm going to assume that everybody's okay. Yeah, I cannot see. Somebody tell me. So I'm going to assume everybody's okay. Where is my Zoom? Right, so take a photo. And I'm going to move on. I have to move on. All right? Okay. Now, even when you follow the ratio that I give you, different protein will still come out with different deficiencies. There will still be deficiencies. So the ratio will make sure that most of the deficiencies are covered, but there will still be some that cannot be covered. Okay. So most usually for professional formulator, we will put in a little bit, 1 or 2 supplements to balance it, or we will add other special ingredients inside to balance it. Okay, but for home cooks, this is possible, but what you can do is rotate. So for example, vitamin B1 deficiency is common in most proteins except pork. Copper is common in fish and chicken, but you will not have copper deficiency in red meat. So, like different proteins have different deficiencies and nutrients. So like vitamin B1, you realize that pork is 0.9 compared to all the rest 0.05, 0.06, 0, like very minimal. So pork is very high. It's like more than 10 times for thiamine. And if you think that beef, chicken breast, pork loin, all the same, no. There will be some difference in terms of nutritional quality. So like say zinc, you see that beef knuckle has the highest amount of zinc at 5, chicken breast only 1, very low zinc. So for a chicken meal, that is very likely that there will be zinc deficiency. Okay. Then you see vitamin B12, beef at 2.6, the rest very little. But when it comes to vitamin B3, chicken breast very high, beef knuckle very little. So for home cooks, the workaround is you rotate. You rotate animal protein, meats, and organs. So to make sure that you don't feed the same chicken meal for the rest of the dog's life, then they're going to run into, for example, zinc deficiency. So you rotate. How you rotate, whether you rotate daily or you rotate weekly, I leave it to you. It works as well as long as you rotate. So you rotate the animal protein. Maybe this week you feed chicken. Next week is pork. The following week is meat. The beef. The following week is fish. Then the following. So you rotate. Now, last time what I did was I rotate daily. If you are able to rotate. So what I did was I rotate daily. So today is fish, tomorrow is kangaroo, the following day is beef, lamb, or what. So you rotate it in that way. Okay. And you also rotate vegetables. Now, if you have your phone with you right now, or if you are able to screen capture, just screen capture this list of vegetables. You also rotate the vegetables. You try to select 2 to 3 different types of vegetables. So maybe this week is this type of vegetables, the following week is another type of vegetables, and try to use different color lah. So if you select spinach, which is green already, maybe you want a pumpkin. Then next week, maybe you select a kale instead of spinach. So kale, then maybe you choose a carrot instead. So you choose different color, 2 or 3 different types. Okay, so that will minimize the risk of nutrient deficiencies in the long term. Okay. Before I switch gear to from 7, 8, 9, 10 onwards, I'm going to address some of your concerns pertaining to food allergies, pancreatitis, and a few other things that you highlighted, right? So for now, what I'm going to do is I just check the chat. Vern, sorry, is there anything on the chat? Any particular
Okay,
question?
at this point in time, someone was asking if, let's say, the dog is allergic to egg or eggshell, is there any alternative?
For calcium, right?
Correct.
There is actually a coral-based seaweed. So it's from the sea. It totally has nothing to do with land-based. You can use that.
Okay. And probably the last one about the food wise, right? If let's say, because the person tasted the dog food, it doesn't taste nice. So
Okay.
is there any way to make it palatable? But I think the key thing over here is the dog. Will the dog eat it? If the dog eat it, it's okay, right?
Correct.
But what if the dog don't eat the food, even though it's a nutritionally balanced?
Okay, then you have to identify, is it the protein that the dog prefers? Because sometimes the dog prefer different protein.
Okay.
Sometimes, so when you rotate, which is why when you rotate, it will also give you an idea that, okay, what your dog prefers. And there will be trial and error because I home cook my dog food as well. And I'm sharing from personal experience that certain dogs will prefer certain proteins over others. You will have to find out. And if you rotate, it's easier for you to find out. And they also prefer certain vegetables over others. Typically, most dogs would not mind pumpkin, carrots, and spinach. Typically, these are what most dogs would not buy, or even broccoli. They are okay. Now, most dogs so far I've seen most dogs do not like green peas or peas, green beans. Usually, those are a bit tricky. So you will have to test it out.
Okay, last question over here. In terms of rotation, how often should we rotate? Assuming, let's say, for example, can we rotate once a month?
Once a month. My advice is if you can do it faster, once every 2 weeks is better because the dog's metabolic rate is faster. So if there is a real nutrient deficiencies for them, for human it's fine, but for them it can be, they may show signs already. So if I would say once a week or once every 2 weeks, the longest you want to stretch is every 2 weeks lah.
Okay.
Preferably. Now, there will be situation, I understand, let's say you go traveling, you have no choice, you have to feed, or somebody, caretaker is feeding once a month. That's fine. Like once in a while when you go traveling, you have to do that. It's okay. It's fine. It's not a problem. But on a regular basis, try every 2 weeks to rotate.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. That's a question for now. At this point in time, please proceed.
All right. So food allergies and intolerances. Now, I just want to quickly run through. I know I'm taking a lot of time, so I will quickly run through this. Now, food allergies and food intolerance, they're actually different conditions, but they both have similar symptoms. Dogs would have diarrhea, dogs would have vomiting, loose stool, itchy skin. So very similar symptoms, but different condition. So different is a true allergy is actually the immune system mistaken food as a threat. They think that the food is a virus or bacteria or some kind of pathogen, and then they go inflame, right? Now, food intolerance is not that. Usually, food intolerance is more of poor digestion. They cannot digest. The dog cannot digest certain food. So they may vomit or they may have loose stool. And it can be food, for example, lactose intolerance. Okay. And for allergies, you have to be very careful because the reaction can be immediate. Just like peanut allergy in human. Sometimes you don't even have to eat the peanut. Some individuals smell the peanut, they have an allergic reaction already. So it can be immediate, it can be life-threatening. Now with food intolerances, the reaction can be delayed. So your dog, for example, maybe lactose intolerance, accidentally drink milk in the morning. You may not see anything until later in the day, only diarrhea. So the reaction can be delayed few hours. It's usually not life-threatening unless it's a repeated offense. So it's usually not life-threatening, but it can be uncomfortable, stomach upset, stomach pain, and all that, right? And real food allergies, a tiny amount can trigger. Food intolerance, it depends on the amount of food. So in situations, sometimes you may notice that, you may think your dog does not react well to milk, but then maybe 1 tablespoon is fine, no problem. But drink 1 cup, then got problem. So you know there is a amount as well. So these are some indication, but do not. And then other signs, they both have similar symptoms. They show similar signs. So do not just assume that it is one or the other. And if you see that the symptoms keep occurring, then you may want to see a vet and identify, is it food allergy, intolerance, and what is it that they are allergic to, if it's real allergy. So usually vet may recommend like running a allergic test or an elimination diet. Okay. Now, other food items that your dog can be sensitive to. Now, or at least I noticed that a lot of times when, for example, people, the dog ate a pet food. They buy a pet food from the shop. The dog eat the pet food, and then after that has a reaction. And so the conclusion is, oh, the pet food says it's a chicken pet food. So the conclusion will be dog allergic to chicken. But not necessary, especially if a pet food is highly processed or if a pet food comes with a lot of ingredients added into it. It could be any one of the ingredients. It's not necessarily the chicken. It could be the preservatives, it could be the colors, it could be the flavors, or it could be chemical residue from food processing. So just be mindful of that, okay? Also, environmental allergies. Now, there was a question asked, like, how common is environmental allergies in Singapore? Is there data on it? Honestly, not that I know of, that there is a trustworthy official data on it, right? But I still want to point out that some of the common environmental allergies that I've seen are grass. Yes, dogs, they're rare, but there are dogs that are allergic to grass, and you will see their paws turning red after walking on grass. The workaround is to wear boots lah. Dogs can also be allergic to mold spores, dust mites, fragrances, and air freshener. So I always tell dog owners, please do not take air freshener like the whole house. Poor dog. You will see them, like, if they're allergic to it or they're sensitive to it, they will be sneezing, and then they will rub their nose, and watery nose and watery eyes. So be very careful. Household cleaning products, especially mopping liquid, especially if it's very, there's a lot of chemicals. So when the dog sit on it, they can have a reaction. But those are usually on the stomach and on the groin at the bottom, because they will sit on it. And then shampoo, yes, some pet shampoo, dogs can be allergic to it. So don't assume that pet shampoo means everything is okay. So again, like food, you can have good quality food. You can also have good quality pet shampoo, and you can also have very bad quality pet shampoo. And your dogs can be allergic to it, and it's usually itch. So after bathing, you will see them scratching like crazy. So that'll give you an idea as well. Okay? Common allergies. Now, some people pose a question to us as well, like, so how do you manage skin inflammation and itch? The first thing you need to do is identify and remove the allergens, whether it is food allergens or environmental allergens. Please go see the vet, get checked up. Is it food allergies or not? And then find out what it is that your dog is allergic to, remove it. That would be the first step. Then after that, usually the vet would give medication. But let's say that you are trying to give your dog a healthier skin, okay? To prevent such things from occurring or to prevent the severity of things. So there are a few things that you can do. Number one is, when the skin is inflamed, it gets red and itchy. First step, you want to reduce the inflammation first. And omega-3 supplement. So omega-3 supplement is very good at reducing inflammation. It is also very good at giving healthy skin in the long term. So whichever brand you get, you follow the dose recommended by the vet or the manufacturer. Okay. Now, there are, of course, therapeutic dose, but in this call, I am not going to review because there is a concern that it will be misused. So there are therapeutic dose. But I'm going to tell you, as pet owners, you follow the recommended dose by the vet or manufacturer. Then you have to reduce the skin itch. Otherwise, the dog is going to scratch and scratch and scratch, and then the skin is going to get injured. Then it's going to get more inflammation and infection. Reduce skin itch. There is a natural antihistamine. It's nettle leaf. Now, I put the brand here because nettle leaf supplement for pets is not easy to find locally. But there is one brand that you can find locally. It's carried by a local pet store. The brand is Kin Dogs. it comes in, if I'm not wrong, it comes in capsules. Capsules just right. So you can look for it. You can just Google Kin Dogs Nettle Leaf Singapore. That shop will pop up. So you can get it from the shop.
If you ran too far, means cannot hear already, okay?
Hello? Okay. So you can get it from the shop, and that is locally available. This particular brand is locally available, okay? The other thing that you can look for is calendula cream balm topical. Now, there are also a lot of other, when it comes to cream and balm for skin inflammation, there are a lot of brands out there. Some of them would have calendula, some of them would use chamomile, some of them would use other type of herbs. Fine, anyone would work as well, okay? But you definitely want to reduce or manage the skin itch so that it doesn't get worsen and your dog doesn't keep scratching and injured the skin further, right? So reduce inflammation. First, you identify, remove allergen, reduce inflammation, and then reduce skin itch, okay? Arthritis management, another thing that a lot of people ask us. Reduce weight. The first thing is reduce weight. Now, if your dog is overweight, you need to reduce weight. Then followed by reduced joint inflammation. Now, to reduce joint inflammation, you can use green-lipped mussel. Sometimes it's labeled as GLM and omega-3. Then once you manage the joint inflammation, then you have to help the joint repair and heal. Then you need to look for supplement with glucosamine, chondroitin, collagen. These three. If you can find one with all five, great. If cannot, three: glucosamine, chondroitin, collagen. Okay. Again, there are plenty of brands out there that has this. I'm sure if you go to any online pet store or walk into any pet store, physical pet store, you'll find tons and tons of joint supplement. Just check the ingredients. Green lip mussel omega-3 is better to reduce joint inflammation. For repair, glucosamine, chondroitin, collagen is better. Okay. So there's two phases to it. Pancreatitis, very important. There's two types. You have acute and you have chronic. Acute, it comes, it lasts for a few days or a week plus, then your dog heals. Chronic, it's a lifelong condition. There could be injury to the pancreas as well. So which means there will be ongoing visits to the vets because it's going to be a lifelong condition. Now, for pancreatitis, the dog food usually recommended, especially in severe condition, is less than 10% fat, DMB, dry matter basis. I will come back to DMB shortly. Now, if it is not a severe condition, sometimes the vet will say, oh, you can go a little bit higher. You can get like 10% fat DMB, dry matter basis. Now, why I highlight DMB? Most pet owners, when they come, they would say that I want lower fat dog food, and I want 10% because my dog has pancreatitis. Okay. Now, I want to highlight there is a difference whether it's dry matter or not dry matter. For pancreatitis, it has to be on dry matter. Okay. Now, take for example this particular dog food, fresh, and the nutritional content. This is not the full nutritional content. I extract it just to make things simple. So protein content, fat content, moisture content, as fat, and dry matter. As fat is as fat. This is a wet food diet. Wet food, huh? As fat means as fat, as it is. Wet food as it is with 71.35%. The fat content is 4.6. When you remove the water content, assuming I take this food, I dehydrate it, remove all the moisture. No more moisture, 0% moisture. obviously without moisture, percentage of fat would go up. Logically, correct? So for pancreatitis, the recommended given is 10% DMB on dry matter basis. So if you are going to feed fresh food, you have to ask the seller, the retailer, tell them that is 10% and less or 15% and less dry matter basis. If not, then otherwise they would think that, oh, you just want 10% less. Okay, lah, this one can, no? Can, no? Can. It's 10% less. So you have to be very specific for disease condition, okay? The other thing about pancreatitis I want to highlight, it's also very common that people will come and say that, okay, I only want kangaroo meat because it's lean. Kangaroo meat is lean. Kangaroo meat by itself is lean. It contains less than 5% fat. But if you take the kangaroo meat, you mix with other ingredients, the end dog food may have higher fat content than the kangaroo meat. And depending on the manufacturer's recipe, all kangaroo dog food can have different fat content. So it does not mean that kangaroo is lean, all kangaroo dog food is safe. No, you still have to ask and check whether it is safe or not, because depending on their recipe, and everyone has different recipe, the fat content can come out very different. Okay, so for pancreatitis, please take note of this. And the final question that we had, my final question is on liver disease. Liver disease is a bit more complicated because actually the question was raised liver ALT. Now I just want to highlight that raised liver ALT, it can be liver disease, of course, can be liver disease, or it can be other diseases. Other diseases can also raise liver ALT, okay? Now, so always refer to the vet on this. And also for liver disease, there is a lot of complication. There's a lot of things that you have to balance, like copper cannot be too high, protein cannot be too high, fats cannot be too much. So there's a lot of complication one, and you can never find an off-the-shelf commercial pet food for liver disease dog. It has to be a vet prescription diet. That means the vet recommend a special diet to you. Or if you want a fresh diet, then you will need to look for a pet nutritionist or a vet nutritionist to customize a diet for you, okay? Now, if not liver disease, but you feel that, yeah, you want to protect your dog's liver, okay? Now, there are nutrients that you can use. Milk thistle. Now, I put the brand here, NHV. This is a droplet, so this is one good brand. Milk thistle for pets. Now, another brand I didn't put here is Adored Beast. Some of you may know Adored Beast, also a very good brand, natural brand, that with milk thistle. So you follow the dose. So these are good. There are a lot of scientific research that they really help to aid with liver detoxification and liver repair. Now, the other supplement that I listed here, N-acetylcysteine, is not common in pet food. It's more common for humans, okay? But I just put it there, right? But for pets, milk thistle. Okay, right. So thank you. That was the last question number 10. So thank you. If you have questions, as Vern mentioned earlier, you can post it, you can put it in the chat, or if not, you can also scan the QR code and you can connect with me directly. If you need help on consultation or dogs and cats or raw food, now I do that as well, right? So I'm going to hand the session back to Vern on this.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. I'll probably just ask three to four questions relates to what you have mentioned just now.
Okay.
I'll probably work it backward. So what someone was asking about the brand Farah. Heard about it?
Okay.
Yeah, how about the brand Farah? Is it okay for dogs as well for in such situation?
Farah has a lot of supplements. They have a range. So to specifically answer whether Farah is good for this situation, I really need to know which specific supplements that you're talking about and which situation you're talking about. You can leave you can leave more details, and I'll try to get back to you personally on this, because it's yeah, this one need a little bit more assessment.
Okay,
than
so
just yeah.
for health related question, specifically to your dogs, because at the end of the session, we will also give you detail on how you can get complimentary consultation. That's where it will be good to actually talk more in detail about the condition, so that
Yeah.
Catherine can actually give you a better answer, like in this case, rather than a more generic one. So I
Yeah.
probably move backward in terms of the antihistamine about the sensitive skin.
Okay.
Is there any issues with nettle leaf allergy? In case it's allergy, is there any other thing that we can use? I think in relation to allergy, only when you use it, then we know whether it's allergy, right?
In terms of yes, in terms of allergy, when you use it,
Then we will know.
then you know whether it's
But
allergy or
what
not.
if there's a nettle leaf allergy? Then other than calendula, is there any other things that we can use for antihistamine?
Can. Okay, so if nettle leaf would be the first option usually for dogs. Now, if the dog is really allergic, the other option is quercetin. It's rare, it's very expensive, but it is available as well.
Okay.
Okay.
The next question would be, of course, someone asked for aloe vera. Is aloe vera useful for itch, for this
Yes,
case?
yes, yes,
Okay,
yes. Aloe vera
fantastic.
is useful.
And the other one would
Thank you for
be,
highlighting that.
yeah. So and the other one would be AX vitamin, which is astaxanthin. Would
Okay.
astaxanthin be useful as well?
Yes, astaxanthin will be useful as well. Generally for as an antioxidant for eyes, for skin.
Okay. Let me see. I think other than this, the rest will be various chronic pancreatitis. Okay. Last question about this. So
Okay.
if there's a chronic pancreatitis and also the CKD
Okay.
at the
Okay.
same time,
Okay.
uh, then how do you deal with this situation?
Chronic pancreatitis and CKD. The pancreatitis, when you say deal with this situation, are you asking for supplements or are you asking for diet?
Uh, in both aspects, how would you deal with it?
Okay, for supplementation, there are a range of supplement that you can give. Okay, so because my dog has both. My dog is also CKD
Okay.
and has pancreatitis. Okay. So for supplementation, I can share there is a list of nutrients that you can, a list of supplements, herbal that you can use, including traditional Chinese herbs, right? And so you can use things like milk thistle. You can still use milk thistle because milk thistle will work for both kidney and liver. You can use dandelion. It will also work for both kidney and liver. Now, other herbs that are safe for kidney, that works on kidney, not really on liver, but they are safe, that I would use is things like cordyceps. You can use cordyceps, which is good for kidney, but it will also be safe for liver, and it will also help with stress management, right? Now, diet-wise is a different story. Diet-wise, you have to, it has to be customized already, specially formulated. So that is not a straightforward answer. So it has to be customized. It has to be specially formulated. So for some dogs with CKD, depending on their stages, we have to control the phosphorus level. We have to control a bit of the fat and also a bit of the protein. Protein has to be really fresh already.
Okay. As you can tell from here, there's a lot of interesting, insightful information that's required for specific condition. So we won't delve too much into this. But of course, like I mentioned, towards the end of the session, you can actually book a consultation with Catherine to understand more about dealing with a specific situation that probably your dogs is actually experiencing. All right, that's towards the end of the session, and we'll also be giving you away freebies that is formulated by Catherine as well, in terms of recipe for sensitive skin and rather the skin, and also the code for adults and also senior dogs. All right. But before we move on, okay, let me share screen first, lah. We will also be moving on another a short topic, which is actually also very important in this case, because what Catherine mentioned over here is more related to the nutrition aspect. That means making our fur kids also very healthy in this sense. But at the same time, accidents do happen. So we never know what will happen. At the same time, we want to protect ourselves, our wallet, and also in the case that we want to protect in terms of the condition for our dogs as well. So next up, I'd like to introduce Shi Qing, okay, founder of Admira. She's not only specializes in protection planning for families and also business owner, but also work very closely with pet owners who want to protect their fur kids. Now, pet insurance is of course becoming more important as vet bill rise. And of course, Shi Qing helps a owner to understand what's covered, what's not, and how to avoid common claim issue. Okay, she'll also be sharing how to choose the right plan for your dog breed, age, lifestyle, so you can actually make informed decision and also avoid unexpected medical expenses. Now, why I say this is very important because I do have someone I know, the dog accidentally swallowed the durian seed. Now, imagine during this period, if the dog would have swallowed durian seed, how next? All right. Unfortunately, the dog need to go for operation and it costs a couple of $1,000s. Even for myself, my golden corgi, golden cockle, okay, actually accidentally swallowed a small socks. Luckily, managed to get him to puke it out. If not, it's only going to be another surgery that's going to cost a couple of $1,000s as well. All right, so without further ado, I just pass on to Shi Qing. Shi Qing, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Vern, for the warm introduction, and thank you everyone for being with us tonight, or maybe should I say, staying all the way till now. So let me quickly introduce our company, Admira, which actually means in Latin towards greater things. So this is to reflect our commitment to walk the journey with our clients, supporting them through life's different stages, and also including caring for the pets that they love. So we are a boutique insurance agency. Okay, so on the corporate side, we do things like retail, public liability, work injury, employee benefits. And on the personal insurance side, we do the common things like home travel, motor insurance. And so today, specifically, I would like to talk about pet insurance. So one of the key strengths, right, is our strong administrative support team. So because one of the complaints, right, that many people have is that, when I purchase insurance so easy, but when there's a claim, I cannot claim. So this usually happens because of quite a few reasons, and that's where we want to ensure that if there's a claim, it will be smooth and handled quickly and hassle-free. So, okay, let me continue. Oops, sorry. So, so my topic today is what every dog owner needs to know before an emergency happens. Okay, so after learning how to feed your dog right, the next most important step is actually making sure that you can protect them when something happens. As we all know, right, that in Singapore, vet care is actually excellent. I would say the standard is pretty good. But however, right, this excellence also comes with price. So, for example, an eye ulcer easily costs between 800 to about 1,500. Surgery about 4,000 to even 7,000 or more. Cancer treatment would easily be about 8 to 15,000. So these numbers are not small. And even if let's say this, every visit to a vet, right, easily costs also about $100. So so nutrition actually keeps our dog strong and healthy. But however, right, even the healthiest dog, right, can also get into accidents or maybe sudden illnesses. So this is why insurance is actually a safety net that protects both your dog and also your wallet. Okay. So today I'll be covering a few questions, common questions. So in the insurance, what is covered, what is not covered? Can my dog be insured if it already has some issues? Is the coverage enough for real emergencies? And the claims process, how difficult, how stressful it is, and is it worth it in the long run? So commonly, what pet insurance cover will be things like accidents, fractures, bites, or emergencies, like chronic illnesses, hospital stay, ICU, diagnostic tests, X-ray, X-ray. So it's a protection for the days, right, that actually you didn't plan for. Okay, the common exclusions would be Okay, definitely pre-existing condition, similar to humans, our hospitalization plan, pre-existing will not be covered. Okay, some insurers don't cover congenital or hereditary diseases. Dental generally not covered unless due to accident. Definitely, if it's for breeding purpose, that means if your dog is a commercial dog for breeding purpose, it's not covered. Pregnancy is also not covered, and routine care grooming is also not covered. So when you are selecting a plan, right, what to actually look out for, importantly is what is the annual coverage or the limit. Also things like co-insurance, deductibles, because different companies' plan has different limits, or they have also different focus. Okay, enrollment age limit. Okay, at what age? Some companies have a maximum age that they cover to. Chronic illness coverage is also differs slightly from different insurer. Some have breed exclusion, and also of course the claims experience. So certain companies also the terms that they cover will also be slightly different. So sometimes it might be hard, right, in terms of for someone who has no experience to do the comparison. Okay. So maybe I can share some real case study of the experience. Okay, so this is actually the one of my clients' dog. Okay, so her dog is a golden retriever. Okay, at age of 5, actually have an aggressive form of cancer that develops from blood vessel. So her total bill, right, actually works out to about 8,000 plus. Okay, including some pre-post claims. So after that, right, her total incurred bill is actually $8,404. Okay, so she's selected to be covered under Liberty insurance, and for Liberty, okay, there's a co-insurance in her case. There's a co-insurance of 3,002. So the total claimable amount worked out to be about 5,001. Okay. Okay, this is also another case of this one is not my client. This just happened to be a news article that I saw. This lady, her dog actually, she brought her dog out for a walk, and then her dog was actually attacked by another larger dog. Okay, her whole bill at the point of time when the news was out, it was about 20,000, and apparently there's more to come as well. So, and such hospital bills can be really huge. Okay, so those are the more serious cases. Okay, surprisingly, what a lot of people is, surprised to hear that actually, certain insurers, they cover, like for humans, right, it's more of like a visit to the GP. So for some insurers, they actually cover this part. So for example, if it's a more less serious case of, like, say, diarrhea, vomiting, they can actually cover ear infection, eye ulcer. These are roughly the cost of it, and the insurer will cover about half of what you are expected to pay. Okay, so how much does it cost actually? Okay, so this is actually just a generic guide because different insurer has different price. Okay, so for as well as like $1 a day, right? Actually, the non-surgical expenses will be $700 that you can cover up to. So meaning that, for example, if I bring my dog for a visit to the vet, maybe for some more mild cases of just a visit, okay, maybe let's say, for example, diarrhea. In this case, let's say the bill is $200, then from here I can claim $100. More serious case of if let's say need surgical expenses, then it's about 2,005. Okay, for mid tier, about 230 a day. Okay, it covers higher non-surgical expenses as well as the surgical expenses, and some now actually also cover things like vaccination. Yeah, so but not much, but they do actually add on that as well. Okay, so it's important to actually for us to take care of our pets in terms of their nutrition, but at the same time, right, also we need to ensure that they have the necessary coverage or protection, so that for that it actually keeps our wallet healthy. Okay, so how can I help? Okay, so I help the owners, so I check for eligibility, compare plans, highlight exclusion, avoid claim mistakes. I today I will offer a complimentary pet protection assessment. Okay, you can actually scan the QR code if you would like to know or have more questions, or you just want to have a comparison, or you want to know what actually does it cover. Okay, you can actually scan the QR code. So I just want to end it with your dog cannot speak for themselves, but you can protect them. So thank you, and back to you, Ben.
Okay, thank you, Si Qing. Okay, thank you, Si Qing. Of course, do stay back because there's a lot more Q&A going on in a while. But let me share with you the last couple of slides, and these are very important slides as well, especially if you are interested to engage any of them for personal consultation. And I also do hope that you guys have a clearer understanding of pet insurance, and also, of course, in terms of pet nutrition to protect our dogs in terms of internal and also external. Now, of course, next up, if you would like to have more tips, updates, future session, of course, I'm very keen on having future session or any follow-up materials because Ray just mentioned about the ratio thing. Okay, we'll update it into this WhatsApp group chat. Feel free to join in by scanning the QR code. Okay, can I also have the link inside the chat room as well so that they can also click it there? Okay, so this is also where we will send additional resources, especially after we compile it into a video. Then we can also send you the link to review this video as well, this recording as well. Okay. Next up, we also have this. Okay, scan already, join already, okay. Next up, we also have this. Before we end off to have more Q&A, free and easy session, we love to hear from you. All you need to do is just basically spend 1 to 2 minutes to fill out our evaluation form because your input will help us to improve on our next session. Okay, and of course, as a thank you, you receive a checklist. I understand that some of you already received this checklist. On top of that, you also receive a recipe. Okay, this from Catherine, and also a complimentary consultation with any of us. So basically, for Catherine wise, we'll be having a more on a pet nutrition related consultation, especially if your dogs do have some health related issue. I think it's a personal consultation with her is very important. If you need any formulation, whatever, that's where you can engage her service as well. Next up, of course, if you want to understand more about pet insurance to help your in terms of coverage, you can also talk to Si Qing. I think it's also very important, especially if your dog is rather young. We never know what kind of situation may occur that can easily accumulate a few thousand or even more in terms of the expenses. Even a simple diarrhea, the thing costs a couple $100 more than human. All right. Luckily, I also purchased the insurance and it helped cover partial of it. Now, of course, lastly, if you want to be more interested in terms of doing health scan, that means immunity or antioxidant scan. Now, this is only for human, so I don't do dogs. You can also let me know so they can do a family scan for you guys so they can check out whether your immunity level, are you taking enough fruits and vegetables, and so on and so forth. So it's more on the nutrition for human, okay, not for dogs. Okay, scan it. All right. Now we'll come on to the free and easy time. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We hope you learned something valuable for your fur case in terms of health and well-being. We'll stop the recording now. Okay, Si Qing can stop recording. And we are going to move into